Okay, I'm Jonathan Bacon. I'm the director of the Educational Technology Center here at Johnson County Community College. I thought I'd show you a picture of me as a child. If I look a little oriental there, it's because I couldn't find more of a Caucasian look, but you know, I hope you'll excuse that. You know, what I really wanted to do is talk about some of the tools that are really available for faculty members to use for free. Now, I have to throw in some caveats. Okay, first of all, anything that's free, you get what you pay for, okay? Secondly, if you work at an institution of higher education where they have certain tools available for you, for instance, we use Angel here, we use SharePoint site for an intranet. If you have some of those tools, then it may not make sense for you to go out searching for another tool that is not supported by your institution, but you all know that. And you're going to do it anyway, right? But that's the caveat, just so you know, you do it at your own risk. Well, what got me thinking about this is there have been a number of cases where, or times when I wanted to create something that was more open than what I was able to do here at the college. Open in the sense that maybe I wanted people from a variety of schools to be involved. Maybe it was a committee and I wanted to have non-JCC folks have access to it as well as JCC folks. And our intranet is pretty much restricted to faculty and staff, not even students except in special cases or occasions. So there have been times when I've wanted to create kind of a classroom or a site, or I hate to use the term, a social network of sorts out there that wasn't encumbered by, you know, authentication on campus and all that sort of thing. I started using Ning a couple years ago after listening to another presenter here at SIDLIT talk about Ning. And so I've been very happy with Ning because if you're unfamiliar with it, like these other tools, it lets you combine a variety of tools. For instance, Ning has a built-in blog. It has a discussion thread or a forum feature. It has the ability for members to create their own profiles. Now, how much of this is news to any of you? Are you all familiar with Ning and that variety of tool? Okay, some are, some aren't. It's kind of a mixed bag. Later, if we have time, I'll show you a book club site. It was a prime example of one where I wanted people on campus to be able to participate, but I also wanted people off campus. And so there's a blog with the most recent news from the book club. There's also a forum where people can have threaded discussions. They each can have their own profile with their own picture and all that sort of information. So it's very social, but it's also certain pages are public and certain pages are private. And that might be very important to you if you don't have an LMS, a learning management system like Angel or Blackboard that your school supports. It might be very important to be able to restrict enrollment to just the people you want to have access to it. So anyhow, there are a variety of tools out here, and I started going through, and you have to give me a second to find the right. I have too many things open. And here we go. So I started going out and taking a look at a variety of tools like Google Sites and Ning Mini, the Webs, Weebly, WordPress, Google Wave, and trying to figure out which of these might meet that qualification of giving you the ability to create a social network. So this is where I put in an advertisement. This presentation is very green. I did not give you handouts. It'll be available in two ways. So all of this material will be available to you in two different ways. One is it'll be up on SlideShare sometime this weekend. So you'll be able to go to slideshare.net/jbacon and you'll find it. The other is it's being recorded and archived by 323 Link. And so you'll be able to go to the SIDLIT site or go to JustinTV/SIDLIT and you'll find the link to this presentation. So you don't have a handout. Whoops, sorry. I'm very aggressive towards microphones. You won't have a handout, but all this information, you don't have to scribble because it will be available in those formats. Well, I need to tell you a second story related to this. We currently have a staff.jcc.edu server. It's a web server, front page server. Use the front page extensions, which if any of you know much about that, you know they're pretty much obsolete. Microsoft has moved on from there. We're taking a look on campus at the ability to create personal web pages for faculty members that are public. Now, right now they can create space in SharePoint, they can create space in Angel, which is restricted to their classmates, or to members in their class. But we're looking at a way, other than this staff server, that is basically, you have to use Expression Web or SharePoint Designer to access it, to create sites for them. And so this is another reason why we've started building this table. And you'll see that if, depending on the tool you're looking at, there are such things as assignment drop boxes. There's the ability for it to be ad-free, and sometimes for you to generate ad revenue from it. Often you have to pay a little bit to get rid of the ads. I mean, that's another truism about anything that's free. It's going to have ads, or you're going to pay to get rid of the ads. There are often bandwidth requirements or restrictions on it. They typically have blogs, and we've talked about forums and other kinds of things. Something that was very important for us was that the client had to be nothing more than a browser, and each of these tools operate in that mode. Tried to list those that are free. And by the way, the other side note, I keep getting myself distracted. The reason we started working on this list is that Ning started charging. Okay, and so how many of you have used Ning sites in the past? Okay, how many of you know that it was going to cost you, but now you can go through, and with a Pearson-sponsored Ning Mini, you can have a free site again? How many of you do that? Okay, good. You learned one thing this morning, maybe. One of our SIDLIT sponsors, Pearson, has come into an agreement, and it will be branded as sponsored by Pearson, but you can, in fact, have a Ning Mini. It is more restricted than the typical free Ning was in the past. The things that stick out in my mind are events. You won't have the ability to have the events. You can always upgrade, pay more money to do it, and you won't be able to upload like podcasts. You know, music is what they classify it as. Anyhow, as you go down through the table, you'll see that we are also trying to determine, can you do some CSS or HTML or XML programming with this? Can you modify it? Are there templates available, etc.? So this is our nice long checklist so far. I don't promise it's 100% accurate, but it's we've tried to keep it accurate. And so that's one, and I'm going to close this down so that I eventually have fewer things open here. So when you see this on SlideShare, you'll be able to follow and go to that social networking guide, that a work in progress, and we'll keep modifying it as time goes along. Okay, we have mics on the floor, and so this is your 60 seconds. If you've got an alternative to Ning Mini, Weebly, Webs.com, WordPress, I think we'd all like to hear it. Are there other sites that people are using to build this classroom out there in the clouds? And we have a contestant.
Is it on? Okay. This is kind of good news, bad news. I really like using Google Wave. I found out yesterday that they're killing it at the end of the year. So if you're already using Google Wave, you have 6 months to find something else. And if you haven't used it, you can use it for a few more months.
Well, I guess negative news is as educational as positive news. So, yes.
On the bright side of that, Google has decided to release their source code, so it won't be long before the programmers start developing some side applications with the same uses that Google Wave has. A lot of the stuff that they got in Google Wave, they're planning on implementing in Gmail, but it's not going to be probably maybe a year or two before you see it. I'm a beta tester for Google, so you know it should be coming. It's just it never caught on. And the fact that they never released it to enough people to catch in the first place, that I think that's one of the reasons why. But stay tuned. Just look at the Google blog. That's where they do most of their beta testing at. So just go to Google and look for Google blog, and if you subscribe to that, you should get the announcements of what's coming down their pipe.
Okay, good. Thank you. That's helpful. Yes.
And this might just be something that I'd like you to touch on at the end, while you're still getting other stuff.
Sure.
One of the dangers that we've found with things that are free is that exact same thing. That, or all of a sudden a whole bunch more ads that are inappropriate for higher education, or you get tons of content on there, and then boom, now all of a sudden we're going to charge you a whole bunch, or things like that. Could you address that a little bit, maybe at the end or something like that?
Sure. Let's move on to what about collaboration online, and please don't let me forget that. In fact, let me make myself a note. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm assuming most of you are aware of the ability to collaborate using Google Docs online. One of the nice things about it, and I haven't seen SharePoint 2010 yet, but in the current version of SharePoint, you cannot have two people editing the same document at the same time. You basically check it out, then you check it back in. Google Docs is different in that you can have multiple people editing at the same time. Now there are some incumbent dangers in that, but for instance, we have used the Google spreadsheet that's part of Google Docs when we've done testing of Angel, and I have 10 staff members, and there are additional people in information services that are all out there testing at the same time. They each have their own column where they put their comments, and yes, this feature works, no, it doesn't, and it's worked very, very well, and it's something we couldn't have done in SharePoint. And SharePoint costs you money, and Google Docs is free. So, take your pick. I'm assuming you also know that you can build presentations in Google Docs. You can also build forms and drawings. And again, that concurrent editing is one of the features I really like. And the ability to export and import documents. So you don't have to create it and leave it in Google Docs. You can get it out and you can get it in either way. There's another session, I don't know if it's today or it's past or whatever, on VoiceThread, because the other tool that I have found that I'm really fascinated by is this VoiceThread. And it allows you to build basically a multimedia slideshow and then allow people to comment. And they can comment in a number of ways. They can type in, they can simply go to the site, type in textually their comments. If they have a cell phone, they can call up and they can leave a comment. If they have a microphone with their computer, they can leave comments. And it's just a very nice feature. And again, someone else is going into more depth on it. You can also embed those, and you can moderate your comments. There's an export capability, but I almost think that it requires, it may require an upgrade. I'm not positive on that one. Okay, but you can moderate comments. So if you put it out there and you want to be sure that all the comments are appropriate, you can do so. You can also make it public or private, and that's one of the nice features for education, is that you can put it out there and the whole world can comment, and that's where you may want to moderate. In the other cases, you can make it open only to people you email and invite, and you can give them access where they're either a contributor, they can leave comments, or whether they can actually go in and alter your basic multimedia presentation. So let's see if I can do this. If I can find the right window open, and that's not it. I was going to be so clever and have all these things open in advance, and of course now I can't find them. Okay, here we go. These are public voice books, as they refer to them, and I thought I'd just play a little bit of this one, Letters from the Internment. Now, the audio may not be loud enough for you to get all of it, but you get at least the gist that you can comment in a variety of ways. Whoop, I think it's to show you this one. Because you can see every one of the...
Weather. Art and Poetry by students in Mrs. Matson's 3rd grade class. May 2008.
This one's simply a text comment. And you can also jump around. You can simply click over here to listen to that comment if you want to just jump and hear any particular one.
I really love the colors that she tried to use on the sun and the grass.
It's inconsistent because the person's calling in on a
sky,
phone,
because sky's purple, and some part of the day it's like pinkish, and
you can also click
next
to
time it's
zoom in on
blue.
certain parts of this, or click to zoom
And
back. To make your comments, you simply go down to the bottom.
I really like this
your phone,
painting
and in
or
essence what
drawing.
happens is you leave a
Whoever
phone
did
number.
it, they
It calls
made
you then leave your comment.
hard work on it, I bet.
You can do a
Congratulations. Thank you.
You can record.
What a wonderful book of art and poetry. I am so inspired, and I really look forward to sharing this with my 3rd grade daughter. She's going to think it's wonderful.
It's free with the usual caveats. Okay? So, we'll close this, and you can see these are all public ones out here. Interesting pants. I'm almost afraid to go to that one. But I'll let you go out on your own and take a look at some of these sites. Yes, and there's also a limit on the number of minutes. And I may or may not have made notes on that, and I'm not sure that I did. But there's a limit. I think it may be a minute per comment, but I'm not positive. And then I think there's an overall limit on it. And then you get to upgrade joyfully. So. Okay, so VoiceThread, another tool. Mighty Meeting. I don't know if any of you have seen Mighty Meeting, but the nice thing about it is, and I'm going to try to describe it because we don't really have time to go through and show you the whole thing. You can go to your Mighty Meeting account and upload a PowerPoint presentation. And then, if you want to show it to someone, you can control it from your phone, or from your iPad, or from your desktop. And they can view it in any one of those formats. Now they have to have the little client, but you can install that for free. And I think I have one image out here. They have a little thing that basically talks about Mighty Meeting, and I should probably have gone back to the very beginning here, but it basically allows you from anywhere. Like if you're on the golf course and you want, like this picture includes, if you want to teach your class from the golf course, and that, and your students are in the bar. I mean, all that works very well with Mighty Meeting. And also, if you're boarding a plane to Rio, I'd love to be a teacher boarding a plane to Rio. But so we'll close this one down and simply indicate that there's at least one other option you might look at, which is Brizzly Picnics. Brizzly is a tool that allows you to aggregate things such as Twitter tweets and all, but it also gives you the ability to put an image up and then have people comment on it. And so I can see where it might be useful as a collaboration tool for student projects or whatever, for them to simply go online and use. Before I go on online collaboration, what other tools are you using? Have 2 microphones. You're invited to be a contestant. Anything else that you would share? And don't say Google Wave, since it's going to
No,
6
it's
months.
not.
So.
This is not a Google. You can go to TeamViewer. It's teamviewer.com, and it's actually a remote desktop support application. But their free version, specifically for education, you can use it for free. And basically with that, you can do remote presentation, you can do file transfer, you can take over somebody's computer, or they can take over your computer. The other one that I was going to tell you about is, a lot of you are familiar with Illuminate. Illuminate offers a V-room where you can have up to 3 people in that room for free. You can have a multi-point video at the same time. You can load PowerPoint slides to their server, and it's all free. And if you join the Learn Central community, which is their social networking hub, you can connect with other professors that teach the same things that you're teaching, and you can share that way. And it's all educational, and it's all free. The first one is Team Viewer. It's like Team Viewer.
Team Viewer.
Like team, like the word team. Viewer, like Team Viewer. That's the name of it.
Good.
And then the second one is Illuminate, and the website is www.learncentral.org. I think it's .org or .com. One of the two. So.
And the next session that's going to be in this room on Pachakacha is going to also have a little 6-minute, 40-second session on Adobe Connect, and the fact that they also have a 3-person free web conferencing tool which could be used for collaboration. Yes?
So we also use MediaWiki, which is an open source tool that we use for knowledge creation and collaboration. So we've got a couple projects that use that, but that requires admin support, you know, to run the servers and to, you know, do authentications and all of that.
Okay, so for MediaWiki, you'd have to have an on-campus server supported by your IS department.
Exactly.
Okay. Come on down. I want to say that, but
just recently, I don't know if any of you guys use Skype, but Skype is recently allowing you to do webcamming or web conferencing with up to 5 people now. And Skype's free. And they do screen sharing. You can do a full screen or a selection of your screen. I just did a presentation for my college that's in Great Bend from my room last night, where I did a PowerPoint, and I shared just a small section of my screen, and that's all they saw was my PowerPoint while I talked to them through Skype. So Skype works really well if you've got a student that, you know, is off and all they have is their phone, because it's free, so they can call you on your Skype and then you can connect with them that way.
That's another excellent suggestion. That's great. Any others? Okay, well, if we want everything free, how about textbooks? Why not have free textbooks? There's at least one site called Connections, and by the way, it's not connections.org. That's a different group, but it's cnx.org. And in essence, the concept of Connections is that faculty members can share, they can write and share modules or nuggets of knowledge, of information. Now, there are lots of open e-textbook projects going, and I'm just telling you about one. Another one, by the way, is this Flat World Knowledge. Flat World Knowledge allows you to basically share and access content online free, but if you download it, you pay. So if the student wants a copy, they pay. But as long as you simply view it online, it's free. Back to Connections, it's a non-profit venture by Rice University, and everything has a Creative Commons attribution to it. And in essence, in the short, there are various levels of Creative Commons copyright usage, but in the most basic terms, what it means is you can use my stuff, sorry, microphone, you can use my stuff, but you have to attribute it to me. You can even modify my stuff in some cases, depending on which Creative Commons license you use, the owner has applied. You can even modify it, but you have to credit me again with the original work. So that means Connections very much allows you to take and edit and use the work that's out there. I wasn't going to go to the website, but I wanted to just kind of quickly show you. This is the website, and it's basically, again, a place to share educational material in small, what they call knowledge chunks. If we take a look, if you scroll down the page a little bit, you'll see that there's, you basically set up an account, you can make a module from scratch and upload it, and you can publish it and share it with the world. So it is intended to encourage faculty members to write and share their content. It's a 3-step process to find material. You simply select the content tab at the top. You type in this case I put in Jupiter satellites, and then you scroll down for the results, and you'll have a list. I mean, assuming there's material there meeting that criteria, it'll have a list. You simply click on the link, and you can then go to that content. And it tells you on the screen exactly how you can use that content. In fact, you can create a lens, which basically means you have created a way, and by the way, you have to create an account before you can create a lens. You have to be a member of Connections. But a lens is simply a view of material. So if you are, I don't know, an astrophysicist, and you're looking for pieces of information, both historical and otherwise, that tie in with something, you can create a lens, which basically means other people with similar interests can follow the information you have selected and bookmarked or whatever. You can reuse and edit, and you can print the page or download it as a PDF. If you print the page, it's basically a matter of printing the PDF. So you download the PDF, you can print online, or you can just save it for later for printing, and use it as a handout in class or however you choose to use it. And again, I mentioned the Creative Commons. At the very bottom, it explains how you can go about, and it defines what it means as far as editing and using the content, and you can also provide feedback to the author, like say, that's a wonderful material, or you're all wet, you missed the point, whichever you choose. Before I go on to this, let's go back for a second. Anyone else have some open textbook, e-textbook sites that you're familiar with that you want to share? And our man from Google.
You can go to Calibre, like the word in Spanish, Calibre, is www.calibre.com. And basically what that is an ebook management open source software. And what you can do with this is you can convert any book in PDF format or any other type of format to any type of electronic ebook reader there is out there right now. You can also make your own books. If you're a professor, you can take one of your own works, convert it into a book, and then you can distribute that book to your students that way. The other thing that you can do is, like, I'm a pilot, so I do a lot of my manuals in the iPad format. So I make like my own checklists and stuff like that for the aircraft and convert them to the electronic format. So if you got a specific thing that you want to do for your class, it'll allow you to do this. And you can put it into any ebook format. And it's free, it's open source. And they also have a community where if you speak another language, like I speak Spanish, you can take a book that you like, but you don't like to read it in English, you can translate it to your language, and that way other people can share the joy of reading the book in the language that you speak.
Any others? I think it was Calibre, Calibre.com, like caliber, maybe? Spelled like caliber?
It's C-A-L-I-B-R-E, Calibre.
Okay. C-A-L-I-B-R-E.com. Have I got that right? Okay. Any others? Okay. Well, yes. Oh, Calibre-ebook.com. Good. Thank you very much. That's what I call collaboration. That works very well.
I can multitask.
Well, multitasking has led me to understand that I need a brain extension. And so I have one that I use and one that I discovered or learned about yesterday, so I rapidly this morning added it to the slideshow. The one that I use is evernote.com. And Evernote allows you to simply email to your account, copy to your account, clip to your account, your Evernote account, information that you want to have access to later on. Now, I've used it in a variety of ways. I use it when there's an article that I know I really need to read, and if I leave it in my inbox, it will get lost, and it'll be 2 years from now, and I'll finally discover it. And so instead I figure I'll put it in Evernote, it'll get lost there. The other thing I do is quite often I get a lot of email. I don't know about you folks, but I get an awful lot of email, and I hate to say it, but sometimes the questions are repetitious and actually require the very same answer. And so what I've started doing is when I compose an answer, because I'm a hunt and peck typist. I flunked out of typing in college. I must confess, it's not the only class I flunked, but I flunked typing. So I type very slow. I'm fast for hunt and peck, but I don't like to compose from scratch. So to get this off of the personal testimony, what I have done is I've taken that information and I put it into Evernote. And when I need to send the same response to someone, I will simply open up that note, cut and paste it into the document, make any little minor tweaks I need, and then send it off. I hate to disappoint all the folks at Johnson County Community College who think I compose that stuff from scratch each time, but Evernote comes in very handy. So you can access it from anywhere. It's on the iPad. It's on your desktop. I think it may be on Android and iPhones. I'm not positive. I've used it mainly on the desktop and on the iPad. And it's fast. It's a fast way to access. So let me take a look here and show you. See if I can find it. The basic format is simple. On the left-hand side, I have listed the different notebooks that I have. You see I have one for computer troubleshooting, I have one for copyright, I have one for distance learning, I have one on ebooks, I have one on the EdTech notes are the ones that quite often I end up, ETC notes are the ones that I cut and paste back and forth. I even have things on lawn care and landscaping. Since I'm retiring soon, I figure I better get up to date on that. Haven't had to mow the lawn for a few years. So, and then in the center here you have the information, and you can simply select it to enlarge it and make whatever changes you care to make on it. Okay. By the way, you can actually email from here, and you can add tags as you would in most cases. So you can print, you can email, you could also delete, which I need to do on some of my material. So that's Evernote. Now the one that I heard from Keith Krieger yesterday about is Digo, and I had been looking actually at a product called Read It Later and had some problems configuring it because I wanted, again, I use Evernote, but I also wanted to be able to, on my iPad, be able to go back and read articles later, capture material that I would read later when I'm mobile and out and about. I also wanted to, I have been fascinated with the idea of being able to send students to a series of websites where they are actually guided through it. And of course, the ability to online add notes, sticky notes, and highlighting. And so I've been looking at a variety of tools to do that, and all of a sudden I find out yesterday from Keith that Digo will do all that. So if you missed his presentation, shame on you. He's going to talk about it a little bit in the Pachacacha session next. I knew I was going to flub that sooner or later. So if you're interested, stay for the next hour and you'll hear some more information on it. Okay, any other brain extensions you folks care to submit?
Just something about Evernote. I use Evernote. Two things. One, it is so easy, and you can even put little extensions on all your web browsers, so you can, if you see a web page you like, you just click a button and it sends it to Evernote. The thing is, and you kind of alluded to this, you have to be organized or it turns into an infinite junk drawer. And because you can just like, I've got 1,000 things that I think, oh, I'll take that, I'll tag it later, I'll file it later, and then then I can't find it anymore because I never tagged it or filed it when I first made it. So be careful about that. It's totally free, but if you pay $5 a month, then anything you scan in, like a handwritten note or a postcard or something you scribbled on a napkin, you scan it in, Evernote will send it up to its servers, convert it into searchable text, and then send it back down. So it still looks like your handwritten note, but if you type the word lunch and you wrote down on a piece of paper lunch at whatever, it will find it for you. And it's got pretty good handwriting recognition. That's an extra $5 a month fee. Everything else comes for free, but it's a great thing.
So you have to have decent handwriting for the handwriting recognition.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it works on mine, so.
Excellent.
The one thing that Evernote is supposed to be able to do that I haven't been able to figure out how to do, but I'll just tell you because some of you are smarter than I am, is that you are supposed to be able to email items and somehow tag it so it will go into a notebook you want it to go into. Mine all go into an incoming one that I then have to click and drag around, which is an extra step. But there is supposed to be a way to do it, and I just can't follow directions, I guess. So go ahead.
I just discovered Digo too about a month ago, and I use it to keep all my bookmarks on because I teach in different classrooms and I teach for a couple different campuses. So all our computers are in deep freeze mode. So all my favorites go with me wherever I go, and I go to Digo and they just pop right up. Saves a lot of time.
Yeah. And Keith was telling us yesterday in the session that Delicious and Digo actually can synchronize back and forth. So if you've been a Delicious user and now you want to use Digo because of some of the other features, you can synchronize. Anything else? Go to the mic. You have to go to the mic. We do not recognize people not at the mic. Come on down. Yeah.
There? Okay. What about the brain extension that remembers all these passwords for the 100, 2,000 million websites that you have to log into? And because I'm sorry, I can't remember my KU one and my JCC one. And who's going to remember all those passwords for you?
I got you covered.
There's an old technology.
The old technology works great, but remember we're in the information age, so sometimes, you know, that old technology gets lost and it ends up in a shredder. What I use for that is called KeePass. It's like KEEPASS. It's a password database. It's encrypted up to 256 bits, so it's very secure. All you need to do is remember one password. They have a portable version. If you feel like you don't want to install it in your computer, you can run it straight from your thumb drive. And with this, you can create groups of passwords. Like in my thumb drive, I got like several groups, networking, you know, bookmarks and all that other stuff. It allows you to store software, you know, a bunch of other things. So it's not just for passwords. It also comes with a password generator, because that's the biggest problem with passwords. You create a password, and then a lot of people, it's like, well, I'm going to use the same password for all these websites. Or a lot of websites now are requiring you to change your password every 90 days. So one of the things that it does is you can select the description of what the password needs to be. For example, 10 characters, upper, lowercase, 2 special characters, and then it will generate that type of password automatically for you. It will also, once you log in into the program, let you click on the link, and it will open the website and log you in automatically if you choose to. That's one thing. And then going back to this, the other brain extension that I use is called Zotero. It's with a C-O-T-E-R-O. And that one allows you to collaborate. You can share documents. You can upload documents. And you can create all of this in this one site. It's an extension for Firefox. So if you use Firefox, please download this extension. I don't work for the Mozilla Foundation. I'm just like Firefox. For your mobile option, what you need to get is for your iPad. It's called Firefox Home. And basically what that do is if you got a Firefox sync profile, it syncs all of your bookmarks to your Firefox homepage on your iPhone, iTunes, or your iPad. And that way, whatever you at, if you're in the classroom and you're working out of your iPad, well, you got all your bookmarks right there, and you can also share them with your students.
Okay. Yeah, Firefox Home I had heard about and hadn't had a chance to research, so that's on my laundry list. It's up in Evernote. It's one of the things to explore. So, yes.
The password thing that somebody mentioned, I use LastPass, which is a lot like KeePass. It's just LastPass. It's totally free. It's just like KeePass. And KeePass may also offer this. I know LastPass, if you download the thing into your browser, then whenever you go to a website that you've logged into before and you've saved it, it will automatically fill it in for you, so you can just hit login. But it's totally free, and I don't know, I probably would have slipped my wrist from my passwords if I didn't have that by now. But yeah.
Also, another thing is you can get this extension. It's called Xmarks. It's an extension for Firefox, but since it originally came out for Firefox, now it's compatible with all browsers. So if you get an account with Xmarks, you got all of your bookmarks synced to your mobile, to any browser, whether it be Safari, Firefox, you know, it even supports Opera now. So you can have all of your, if you're working out of a Mac, you can have your bookmarks in Safari. If you work out of a PC, you can have your bookmarks in Internet Explorer. Or if you're working out of your iPhone or iPad, you know, you'll use the Safari web browser, and it will also let you bring in your bookmarks. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, I need to go, you know, here or there. You have them there. They also have a portable version.
Xmarks. That's another good tool. Anyone else? Okay, well, let's see what I have next here. You know, the connections slides I showed you a little bit earlier that had certain areas on the screen circled and some arrows and all. I mean, I know there are many tools you can pay for to do this, but Jing Free, the free version, can do a great deal. In fact, I've just started recently. I'm a slow learner. Meg has talked about this for several years, and I finally recently thought, you know, I ought to check out Jing. So what I've started to do is when there are questions specifically about Angel, and I want people to understand the step-by-step process, you know, you can do a screen capture, add the narration as you go along, and add whatever else you need onto it. And by the way, Jing does both the screen capture static images, and it also does a little video. It'll do a video capture. So you can go to the Pro version, which gives you a few more capabilities. There's another tool I heard about just yesterday, which is a screener, which I think is put up by Articulate, and Screener is on the bottom of the screen here, is a very similar tool. So I have been using this poor microphone. I hope it survives this session. But, I've been using things like Snagit and Camtasia in the past, Camtasia Studio, but these are free tools and very, very, very easy to use. So, Meg, what have I not said? I have to call on the expert.
Yeah, with the Jing Pro, and is this just the Jing Free or Jing Pro? With the Jing Pro, it'll upload to YouTube, but once again, when faculty write and say, how do I do this? I've started putting together a library of the how-tos, and I just keep the URLs, and just like you on your Evernote, I just grab that URL and send it, and just little bits of information. Mine usually last 15 to 30 seconds. I send it to faculty and to students on the how do I, and they always write back and say, oh my goodness, that's exactly what I was looking for. So I've been a Jing fan since I think about 3 years. And the TechSmith people are here. And so go and thank those TechSmith people, because I can't live without Snagit and Jing. Yeah. I use it almost every day.
Yeah. And Jing does it can store up to a screencast, and that's free. Now you can upgrade and pay for additional storage space. Yeah. But Screencast also allows you to go, or Jing allows you to go, and basically you look at the history and you can see the video captures that you've done in the past, and then you can re-get the URL. So if you forget what the URL is in Screencast to send out to somebody, you can always access it fairly easily. So it's a neat little tool. Any other screen capture, video capture, whatever? No, wait a second before you go. We will be signing you up next year to do this presentation.
I'm the multimedia specialist for Barton Community College. I retired from the Army after 20 years of service and 3 tours in Iraq, but now I got a lot of free time on my hands, so that's kind of like what I do. But it's another extension for Firefox, and this one is called Pixlr. It's Pixlr. And basically what that allows you to do is it allows you to do a capture of anything on a website. But the pretty cool thing about it is kind of like a mini Adobe Photoshop, but it's cloud-based. They have a guy from Australia that put up about 25 different video tutorials. So if you do a Google search for it, you can get the video tutorials as well. So not only can you do image capture, but you can do image editing. And they have a whole suite of products that you can use straight from their website, and it's free. The only thing you got to do is download the extension in Firefox, and it'll be at the bottom of your toolbar. So you can right-click on it, and you can say capture area, and what it does, it put a mask over your screen, and then you can drag that area that you just selected and just capture that one shot. Then you can save it to your desktop, or you can open it in their browser, in the window in their website. And there you can edit it. You can crop it, you can change the image levels, the hues, you can add special effects, or you can add text to it if you want to make a text notation for your students. And it's all free.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Pixlr, Pixlr. And it's an extension for Firefox. Anything else? Okay. I used to, back in the days of old technology, I used to have a voice mail, a telephone distribution list that included all faculty members. Now they were surprised that I had spent the time to do that. Then we changed phone systems and I lost the whole thing. And about that point in time, luckily email came in, so we started doing distribution lists. But every once in a while it's nice to be able to send a message to someone, a voicemail message, and you don't want to really type the whole thing out. You just want to say it. And so I've been looking for a tool, and I understand one of my staff members said, well, Google Voice can do that too. Well, and they were saying Google Talk is old technology. Well, I'm old. So I like it. It is PC only, but basically with that tool you can send a message, and you don't have to hope that the person's not there for it to pick up and send it as a voicemail message. You can simply identify it as voicemail. See if I can find. Okay, here's a message I sent to myself, and this is the way it comes through as an email with an MP3 file, and we'll see if it will play. And it's not going to. Well, we'll try it this way. I thought I was going to be so clever on not logging in, but logging in.
Good morning, Jonathan. Don't forget you have an 8:30 and a 9:45 presentation at SIDLIT. Oh, and by the way, if you're going to keep talking to yourself like this, maybe it's time for you to retire.
It's time. It's time. So, you know, it really is a fairly easy matter to simply install Google Talk. And again, I haven't done it with the Google Voice because I haven't gotten into Google Voice. Someone who's done that, you can tell us if you can do this. But basically, this is it's an IM, it's a chat tool. But at the same time, when you select the particular person, you have this option over here to send a voicemail. And if you click on it, then it will simply say, at the meep or beep or whatever, you know, go ahead and record. Yes?
I've used Google Voice, and I don't really recommend it right now. You get your own Google number. It's a new phone number. The idea is you get a new phone number, you give it out to people, and then when they call, you can have it ring your phone. And if you're not there, they'll leave a voicemail, and it will use its magical algorithms to take your voice and transcribe it into text, and then you can listen to it later, and it will send you the text of the call to your email, so you can read your email and see what the voicemail was. It's a great idea. It doesn't really work. The voice recognition is pretty terrible. I mean, it's funny. You can see how the things got translated.
Just for a laugh, and
what?
We should all try it just for a laugh.
Yeah, try it for a laugh. I mean, I'll do it for a laugh. I'll give it to my friends, then I'll go and I'll read it, and I'll listen to it while I'm reading the transcription. And it's pretty hilarious. But I wouldn't recommend it as a real tool, at least not yet. Something kind of like Google Talk, slide dial. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's not really. Oh, it has a website, but the whole point is you can call somebody's cell phone, skip talking to them, and go right into their voicemail. And I use it a lot. It doesn't work with landlines. It only works with cell phones. But you can either put the slide dial number in your phone, call it, and then put in the number of the person you're trying to call, or you can go to their website and you can put in some contacts and then just click the name, and then slide dial will call you, you answer it, and it will call the other person. It's free if you want to listen to a little ad, or I think it's like $4 a month for no ad supported. But if you just want to tell somebody something but you don't want to go through the whole hi, how you doing, blah 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 blah, I use it all the time.
Are you saying it's slide dial, like SLYDIAL? Okay, slide dial.
Now,
yes.
Going back to Google Voice, the one thing that is good about Google Voice is the fact that if you don't want to give your real phone number to your students, you can give them your Google Voice number. And that way, when they call you at 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't have to pick it up. It goes straight to your voicemail. You don't miss them telling you that they didn't do their assignment because their computer broke. and then you can get that later and deal with that issue later. Another thing is it does work with phones other than cell phones. You have to set up like your home number, like I have my home number, my cell phone, and I have another IP address number from another company that's called Zipgate, and they'll go to my Google voicemail. So I can screen who's calling me. If my boss is calling me and I don't want to talk to him, I see that he's calling me, but I just let it go to my Google voicemail. And the other advantage of that is that nobody knows your real number. So you could be anywhere in the world and you can have people connect you, because it still works whatever you in China, whatever you in Russia, in Iraq, it doesn't matter. You still get that voicemail. So you will always stay connected with that. So that's one thing that I like about that. The text transcription, I do agree with you. It's not really good right now, but as for the voicemail feature and its capabilities, I think it's a great tool for you to stay in touch with, people that you want to actually stay in touch with.
Okay, thank you. Any others? Well, this tool has been around for a while, but what I really like is there's now an Android version. I don't know if there's an iPad or iPhone version of dictionary.com. I don't know about you, but I had a deprived childhood, and quite often I come across words that for the life of me I can't figure out how to pronounce, like pachaka cha, or something of that sort. I don't think it's in dictionary.com, but anyhow, the thing I like the best about it is you can actually listen to the pronunciation of words if you need that. It's got a great thesaurus. You can get quotes, word of the day, etc. And actually, I did check. I guess it does have an iPhone as well as an Android and a BlackBerry, an iPad too. So anyhow, I just wanted to throw that in because it's a neat little tool, and I like to have it tell me how I'm mispronouncing words. We're always looking for free media, and I'm going to run through this fairly quickly because I just want you to be aware of them. There is the OpenClipArt.org, which is kind of an open clip art project. Now, some of the stuff is varying degrees of excellence, but it's you have the ability to not only download and use the material without charges of public domain, but you also have the ability to upload if you are the creative type and want to share information. CC Mixter also allows you to do the same thing with music, and it allows you to take and blend your music and then use it in background for your presentations or productions or whatever. Flickr has many of the Flickr images are available on Creative Commons license also, and so sometimes when I'm looking for an image, I'll go out and look at Flickr, and the bottom line is, generally speaking, if it gives you a link to download, it means it's covered under Creative Commons. You have to credit the person, but it does give you the ability to access a wide variety of images. Anything you'd add to that? I should have added Picasa also, but what else would you add? As far as media, free media resources.
I send a lot of our faculty to Marlowe. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's spelled just like the wine. They have all kinds of different reusable learning objects, not just clip arts or anything, but they've got movies and lesson plans and just all kinds of stuff that you can use. And on the Creative Commons, I don't know if you're aware, but you can actually filter your search. I use Google a lot, but you can filter your search engine through Creative Commons, and so that the only thing that pops up is stuff that is Creative Commons stamped, so you don't ever have to worry about whether or not you can use it or not, because that's the only things that'll pop up. So
good. Other resources anyone would share? And I should have mentioned Merlot because it is an excellent site.
For those of you that use SoftChalk, or if you haven't used it, one of their tools is like a media library. Inside of that media library, you got access to Merlot, Flickr, Google, and they just made a licensing agreement with this company that has a whole catalog of reusable learning objects, not only videos and images. But basically what it do is when you create a lesson, you can select any of these libraries, look for what you're looking to use in your course, and it will automatically show you where it's at in their library. Bring it into your library. Now you can make that object part of your library, or whatever it be, a picture, a video, or something like that. And that's with SoftChalk. So, those are links. Yeah, exactly.
Any others? I should go back to Mixter for just a second and indicate that they have, samples, and they also have acapellas, so you actually have voice without the music that you can then blend, you can mix. You can basically remix basically anything they've got on their site. And they have, once you remix, you can upload what you've remixed and then share it with other people, again, on this Creative Commons kind of license. Well, I had a question recently from a faculty member who said, I want to be able to randomly select the name of a student and call on them in class. And so I did a web search and found this neat little site that is simply Flash-based and allows you to type in the roster for your class, save it as a text file to your desktop, and then every time you go to the site, you can simply load that class list, and it will randomly select someone from that, and you can use that for whatever purpose, for calling on students in class, embarrassing, and all, that sort of thing. It's just a neat little tool I thought I'd share with you, just for the fun of it. And since we are running out of time, I can't help but mention, at least in the image manipulation area, two very, very strong tools. One being Picasa web albums that really gives you the ability to organize photos as well as to create everything from slideshows to movies based on those images you select, collages. It allows you to share and edit and geotag your images. Avery, another free tool that there was a time when Avery, I think, was charging $25 or so for an annual license. I'm pretty sure they're completely free at the moment, and I say at the moment, but it's a whole suite of tools, very similar in some regards to CS5 or CS4, the Creative Suite by Adobe, in the sense that you've got both image and vector image editors, you've got screen capture capability in there. You can actually, the newest tool is a music creator, audio editor, etc. So you've got some neat tools that, as far as I know, both of these are completely free. The thing I like about Picasa, by the way, and I'm still learning it, there's a lot of depth to it, is that I was using, what's Adobe's browser? I can't think, Bridge. I was using Bridge, But Picasa does the same sorts of things. It allows you to, actually it has a face recognition thing. You can identify and tag a specific face and then have it find other faces in your collection of images and apply that tag to it. You can obviously sort based on tags or keywords or whatever. It just has a multitude of tools, and like I said, I'm still exploring it and learning a lot more about it. Anything you'd add in this suite? Image manipulation. We have all of 30 seconds.
I use a tool called Animoto to create movies. It's a very nice tool, and it has free version. If you pay some money, you got more features. But for regular use, I think the free account will help you to create a quite kind of professional-looking movie if you upload those images.
Okay.
So I like that tool.
Okay. And you said Animoto.
Animoto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. It's A-N-I-M-O-T-O. A-N-I-M-O-T-O. Yeah.
Animoto.
Any others? There's another one, by the way, called FlixTime that allows you to do similar sorts of things, combine both the video that you already have as well as images.
There's also a free application is similar to Animoto. It's called Extra Normal, and it's like instead of EX, it's just Extra Normal, and that one allow you, the free version that they have allow you to use up to 2 characters. But if you buy these little packages, you can have up to 6 characters in your movie, and it allow you to choose the angles. They got like a precedence pack, and I have a history professor that put together all these videos, and basically he got like Thomas Jefferson or Lincoln, and he uses that for his introductions for his class. So in that way, you know, you can imagine the possibilities. You can go these little avatar characters, and it's a good way for you if you're trying to make a lecture and you're the type that don't, you know, camera shy, don't like to get in front of the camera. Well, you can pick a character, and you know, that way you can communicate with your students, and the students love it. That's another thing, and feedback that we got back from the students is that they really like it. They don't like to looking at the professor.
Sad state of affairs. Oh, Extra Normal. Extra Normal with no E on the front. XTRA. Okay, Extra Normal. By the way, I'm going to go back and make myself seem smarter than I am, because I'm going to add all your suggestions into the slideshow. So when it's up on SlideNet, you'll be able to find all this stuff because I'll have it up there. So, okay. Just so you know, one site that I find very handy is this Netty by the Webby's blog, which lists an awful lot of very useful tools. For instance, and I won't go there because we're really out of time, but yesterday's tip, or yesterday's product, was something called Subtextual. And Subtextual, which I haven't used, I just read about it, haven't had a chance yet, but it allows you to respond to an email or forward an email and add a note that only certain people who are recipients will see. So you can actually layer on kind of a footnote, but just for certain recipients of the email. And it works with Gmail and with Outlook. So for what it's worth, I thought I'd throw that out. But the main thing I wanted you to know is if you go to tinyurl.com/netwebby, you'll get to that website, which actually looks something like this. And it's a daily blog, and you can sign up for it, RSS, or get a daily email, and they will keep you up to date on such topics as Subtextual, which is the topic for the secret message. Okay, then. I'm sorry, we're out of time. I can't take any questions, but it's been great talking to you today. You have contributed so much to my knowledge, and I appreciate it. So, thank you. Yeah, we need to hire them. Now, you might say, why would you worry about that? Well, there is also an even shorter variety of this called the one-minute lecture. And a lot of instructors, in a lot of instructional settings, are experimenting with very short, concise presentations with the idea that that's the bare bones content. Now, we can argue all day long about, and I'm not proposing, and I don't think anybody's proposing, that you make everything a one-minute, lecture or a one-minute peach cobbler. But the point is that maybe we need to concisely present information and then open things up for discussion. So, I thought you would like to hear at least the Muppets' view of how to pronounce this word.
Pekakucha? Pachekacha. Pachekacha. Pachekacha.
Oh. So I think the moral of the story is it's Pechakucha, it's Pachakacha, it's Peach Cobbler, and it's Machu Picchu. Any of the above will work. So our first of 5 presentations is by Keith Krieger from Johnson County Community College.
The nice thing about having only 6 minutes is that you don't have time to get nervous. So, let me kick something off here. Again, my name is Keith Krieger. I am Technical Training Coordinator here at JCCC, which means that I help faculty and staff understand and take advantage of technology for themselves in their classrooms. And what I'm going to give you today is some benefits and ideas about using a social bookmarking tool called Digo. And as I always make this offer to my audiences, if you'd like to have the expanded notes for this presentation, you may certainly send an email to the address at the top of the slide, and I can also be found at a bunch of other places on the web, as well as all of my bookmarks on the web. So when we talk about bookmarking in the old sense, they were stuck on one computer, they were very inflexible, we couldn't sync them up, we couldn't share them. And what Digo gives me the ability to do is build up groups of people to share these bookmarks among. So in essence here, what we're doing here is building a network. This could be, for you, a network of your students in a class. It could be a network of your colleagues. It could simply be a network of people that you share an interest with, all arranged around some kind of tagging of web-based resources. Now, the other things that we get with a tool like this, as you see up here on the screen, is the ability to find a web page and not only bookmark it, but highlight it. Or, as you can also see here, put a sticky note on it and comment on it. And all of the users, all the people who use Digo, when they come back to the page, see those annotations. The other piece that happens when we bookmark a page in Digo is you'll see in blue their recommended tags. So if I set up a group for my classes, I can set up a group of recommended tags so that as students go out and bookmark resources, they're all using the same kinds of tags so that we share a vocabulary. And as we bookmark those items, we get a list built by Digo with usage counts. And if you'll note across the top, that gray tab labeled Sort by Community Usage allows me to see how the group's using them. Clicking any one of those is going to take me to the bookmarks associated with that tag. Now, the addition to this is that Digo toolbar gives me the ability to, with one click, email that resource to someone. I can tweet it. I can send it to a blog. I can feed it to a Facebook status. So I don't have to go outside of the application to share that resource that I found on the web. In addition, we can do a snapshot. A snapshot simply says take a picture of it. And as you see in the example here, I've highlighted a section of a page, taken a picture of it, so I've now captured it, so if that page leaves, is deleted, or is moved, I still have it contained within my Digo account, and I can still have it cited. Now, much of what we find on the web is kind of we stumble upon things, and this gives me the ability within Digo to say, okay, I want to read this later. A single click of the button generates that dialog box. And when we go into our Digo account, you'll see over on the right-hand side that folder that says Read Later. So I've captured it for when I need it. When I do decide to bookmark something in Digo, notice in this dialog box that we can do all of those actions in one spot at the bottom. Add it to a group, share it to a group, add it to a list, snapshot it, and if you look at the upper right, I can make this private, so it can only be seen by me as opposed to any of the groups I belong to. Finally, if you've used traditional bookmarking tools in your browser, Digo says, go out and import all of those bookmarks, so you no longer have to go out, revisit all those pages and add them manually. Digo will simply go out there and grab them and pull them in and allow you to tag them and organize them. Makes it very simple. The Digo toolbar, which you can install, gives me all of those tools in a single strip at the top of the browser. And in addition, you can see here on the left-hand side where we have a sidebar of all of that shared bookmarking that I've done that is searchable by tags and by lists and within my groups. If you work in an environment that does not allow you to do browser toolbar installations, you can do a bookmarklet. That is, I drag that to the favorites or the bookmark toolbar, and it doesn't require reboot or reinstallation of anything on that particular computer, because the environment may not support that. If you use other devices, I've got one set of bookmarks in Digo, but I use an iPad, I use an iPhone, I use a different browser, I use some other device. Digo brings all that functionality and lets me install it on all of those different devices. I have one set of bookmarks, a bunch of different devices. When you sign up for your Digo account, you can also request a free premium educator account. And what that gives you is the ability to create class groups. Give it a name, and notice at the bottom that we can specify whether this is public or private. Once we have it created, then we can invite students to join the group, and Digo will generate usernames and passwords for those students. An email address is not required for them to be part of the group. They then can access the group, add bookmarks and tags that only the group can see. So we can have some control over the profiles. This is an example of a group. This is Mike Wesch's digital ethnography group out at K-State. You notice on the right-hand side, there's some stats there slightly cut off, but there's 174 members in this group. It is a public group, which means that anyone can access it, and we can see that Mike and several of his students have already added bookmarks here and tagged them. Once we have those groups built, we can organize the bookmarks into lists. We can drag and drop them to reorganize them. We can add sections, and up the upper right, we can play them back as a slideshow. We can give people a tour of our bookmarks. So again, if you would like to have the expanded version of this presentation, again, there's my email address there at the top of the slide, as well as a couple other places you can find me on the web. And I think particularly the educator's account is something you really need to look at as a tool for this looking around for resources on the web. Thank you.
I don't know if you know it or not, but when a technologist like myself has a question, we always have to go to someone else who has the answer. Well, Keith is my answer guy, so you can tell from his presentation. I thought I'd tell you just a little bit about each of these presenters. And the next one, the secret piece of information you don't know is when he was little, his parents would say to him, "Son, son, please come here." Well, it's because his real name is Son. They say, "Son, son, come here." So, Son.
I'm going to guess that mine will not go as smoothly as Keith's, so let's get started. I'm going to be talking about Adobe Connect. I'm not going to show you that here on this screen. But Adobe Connect Now is a very useful web conferencing program that basically is a 2 guest at a time program versus Adobe Connect Pro, which allows you to have multiple. What could you use this product for? Well, you could use it for office hours. You could use it for tutoring. You could use it for troubleshooting if you're trying to connect with people. The next aspect of this is that Adobe Connect Now is a no download type of service. It's Flash player based. That's really the difference between it and some of the other more advanced ones like Connect Pro. So you'll need to go to this website to sign up for it, and you'll basically get your Adobe Connect password. So then, after you get the information sent back to you, you'll end up going to this web page. So this is the web page which you'll enter your information that you just got from your email, put it in, and it'll take you directly to your Adobe Connect or your Adobe Connect Now homepage, which also has some other cool features to it as well. Won't go into those. So to get started, basically you'll end up with a URL like you'll see there. It's Adobe Connect Now IMRAE 955. This is how you access the meeting room. This is also where you can share your link. One thing to note too is that if you're going to use this send to meeting button, go ahead and use your own email account. Send it out through that. That way you can allow people to know what maybe the hours are that you're going to be at that particular URL to engage them. This is what their view will look like. Once they get the email, they'll be able to click on it and it'll take them to this place. They enter a guest name, and then following that they'll get the approval screen. You have the option of allowing them to enter your room with approval or automatically enter. That's nice, so that way you don't, if you're doing office hours, the one student can get in and the other one can't, and then you can just approve them that way. Some of the features, go through the features here that I've kind of showed them all. You got webcam, you got share files, you got shared notes, you got a chat room, you got a whiteboard, and you got screen sharing. You also have something called basically sharing your desktop, and I'll show you that here in a second. 20 seconds goes strangely in and out, you know. So you have basically voice conferencing. So at the top right hand side you'll see that there's a little button for a microphone. You click on that and it allows you to just do the voice over IP with someone. And then this is your setup. You can test your microphone and your speakers right here from the preferences dialog box. Make sure you do that every time. Video conferencing. So video conferencing is our webcam, and our webcam basically shows you a webcam. So make sure you have your webcam hooked up, and then make sure that you have tested this beforehand and make sure it's connected, because some cameras work differently than others. It works very simply, and it's really what it does. You can also have your participants show their webcam as well. File sharing is also a really interesting aspect too. You can actually upload a file, and then the student can then download that file directly from here. So it's just a nice little feature that, you know, kind of come up with whichever way that you might want to use that feature. Shared notes, that's the next aspect. That's kind of like using a wiki in a way. It's the one on the bottom left. Basically, it's different than a chat group in the essence that, like a wiki, you can go ahead and, if it pops up, add a bunch of information to it, and then right here on the bottom where the little disk is that no one uses that disk anymore for saving things, that's where you can save that file as a doc file. So chat's simple. Everyone's used chat in one way or another. You can also save your chat files, but that's more of a, not really a collaborative situation where in the shared notes you could actually go through and then make a change to the previous person's information. So you're really just sharing a notebook in essence. The whiteboard, which is pretty simple, and most people probably use a whiteboard, works just like any other whiteboard out there, and that's a screenshot of it. Probably not much more to tell you about whiteboards. See, it's just, I think this is 30 seconds. Screen sharing. Screen sharing is the really cool part. It allows you to share multiple parts of your screen, one of which is you can show just your, come on. Okay. You can start the screen and it'll show all the things you have open, so you can choose a particular window, you can choose your entire desktop or an application. The nice thing that just missed is that, I'll tell you at the end. Okay. The remote control is another aspect that's nice. When your participant comes in, you can request control of their computer. What they'll do is they'll show you their computer in a screen sharing mode. And then right here you'll see this little wheel, And that little driver's wheel is what you can do to take over their computer screen and run their computer for them. So here's some best practices for setting up your computer prior to the meeting. Make sure that you have a fast internet connection. Duh. Avoid wireless connections. Okay. And then shut down any email or IM programs that aren't being used. That way you don't get to show your students some IM from somebody that's maybe not something they need to know about. So the other thing is shut down any VPNs or directly connect to the internet. Have programs that are screen sharing open, but basically don't go trying to open up screen sharing as you're doing it. And then also turn off your sleep mode on your computer, that way it doesn't fall asleep on you. If you're sharing your screen, try to remove any background photos from your desktop. You know, it's just a common practice, unless you really want people to see what you've got up there. There is options for optimizing for DSL or better, and always test your microphone and speakers each time you do it, because who knows, some little small change might have been made. Another thing I want to thank Windows 7 snipping tool. If no one's used Windows 7 and the snipping tool, it works great. It's better than hitting Alt, print screen, and then putting it somewhere else and then cutting it. It's a great little product if you haven't moved to Windows 7 yet. And then lastly, I am taking questions. Good. Okay, no questions because I only have 20 seconds. Actually, if anybody can remind me what I was going to say earlier, it had to do with the the difference between Adobe Connect Now and Adobe Connect Pro. One of the nice things about Now, even though it only has 2, is that when you're using Pro and you want to share your desktop, sorry for overgrowing here. It's a nice feature though. It's in Connect Pro, if you want to show your desktop, it takes all the stuff away and it only shows you the desktop. You can no longer see chat or any other information. With Adobe Connect Now, they've got a little module on the side that shows you the chat and shows you who's logged in. So hopefully Adobe Connect Pro gets to that point, but that's all we have.
I've always wanted to say this, but thank you, son. Linda, last year, I think it was presented at SIDLIT, and presented just a whole host of tools, about 10% of which I had a chance to go back and work with. And she is, again, a wealth of knowledge in this area, and that's the secret about her, is she really has a wealth of information. So, Linda, why don't you come on up then?
Thanks, Jonathan. I have to tell you, Michael said he didn't have time to get nervous, but I'm nervous. I've had time. So, bear with me. Okay. If I do this right, am I supposed to right click? Oh. See, I told you. Okay. I'm not going to talk about Twitter. We've heard plenty about Twitter during the sessions. But I would like to talk about Glogster. You're taking my 20 seconds, guys. and some web tools. It's become more of a storm than a cloud out there of all these tools, so I'm going to attempt to calm the storm a little bit. Jog the Web is a neat site that allows you to enter a list of websites. And as you can see, I've created one here on the left, and all of the sites I'm mentioning during this presentation, I'll give you a link to a jog that has all of those, so you don't have to write them down. It's kind of like, well, anyway, we'll keep moving. Zoomit is a little site. Actually, you install Zoomit on your computer, and during any presentation, no matter what you're using, even just a web page, you can circle, you can type in like the web address here, and make notes. And I tried it with Jing, if you use Jing, and it works great with Jing. Show me what's wrong. Have you ever been in a position of having a student or a friend who was telling you about their technical issues and you couldn't see their screen, so you couldn't help them? Go to Show Me What's Wrong, enter your name and your email, click Generate. It'll generate a link for you to share with your students. Once they go there, they see the screen that's in the background, the graphic in the background. They enter their name, click Start Recording. It records whatever's on their screen, whatever they say if they have a microphone. They click Stop, and it automatically generates a video, and it sends it to you. All they have to do is be able to click Start and Stop. Glogster, again, is an interactive poster. You can add, if you don't know about it, you can add web links, animations, graphics. You can upload your own graphics. You can put in YouTube's voice recordings. You can link Glogs to create a portfolio of student work. There's also a site called glogster.edu, and at glogster.edu you set up a class site so that only your class can see each other's work. You can even set it so only you see them. And this is a sample of a Glogster that's been embedded in a wiki. And look at all those sites you can go and explore now. Live Web is a neat little add-on for PowerPoint, and if you look on my insert toolbar there at the top, I can insert a web page. Now that's not just a picture of the page, that's the actual active page, so that you can move about in a web page during a PowerPoint and not leave your PowerPoint. Tagxedo is kind of like Wordle. I like it better, it has more options, and it's a little interactive, and as you can see, when you hover over any word, it does like this, thanks Johnson County Community College little word, and it pops up. So it kind of, as they hover over the Tagxedo, it comes to life a bit. This is Image Chef. I created a little apple for my ED 222 class. It's just a few clicks and you can create these. They have numerous shapes for you to use. You can upload your own shape. You can use words for your shape, and you can save that as a JPEG, use it as you wish. This is Make Suite. Make Suite allows you to create banners such as this, a number of different banners, and you can create flags, sailboats, ornaments, all of those type of things. You can even create a sign that looks like the Royals sign with lights. Zamzar is a very useful site. It lets you convert various files to different formats. You can see how many different types of files, not formats. The formats list is humongous. You just upload your file right here. You don't download anything to your computer. Upload your file, convert it. It sends you an address where you go download that new file. I really like Crunched. At the end of the presentation, there's a link to all of these slides, and it's crunched. You can enter any web URL or any number of them, generate your link, and you can name it what you want. I put in SIDLIT, and they send you a link where people can see all of those with just one click. Stat Planet, you just about have to go see to appreciate. It's an interactive map with very up-to-date information. This one is from January of 2010, and you can share these with your students. The other thing about Stat Planet, though, is that you can actually download that free of charge to your desktop. Now, the information you use when you do that, of course, is not constantly updated because it's on your computer. But you can use it for your classes, and for your students can use it. You can animate over time, just a number of different options. I really like Museum. It's actually a museum in Washington, D.C., but they have an online site, and the full section or full selection of the front page is uploaded by 8:30 in the morning of 700 newspapers, and you can use these. And once you click on the front page, you can go in and see the whole news and read the whole newspaper. Critical Past has 57,000 historic videos and 7 million photos. You have to just link to them. You can't download them, of course, but you can. They have a ton of wonderful information. And I searched for Wichita and got a video about Joyland Park in the 1950s. Capsules is one of the best timeline creators I've ever come across. I really like it. You can enter pictures, video, time, of course, different times. It's real interactive. Students will really get into this. They can even create a timeline of some of the work they did throughout the semester. And it's real easy to use. Chart Tool, if you use charts and graphs in Excel, if you're like me, I hate them. I don't do very well with them. At this site, it's a free online site. It'd be very easy for you or students to create their graphs in a number of formats, a lot of beautiful formats, and then it's saved as an image. Or you can save it there and go back and use it. This is the site that will have all of these this is the Jog the Web that will have all the sites listed here. I'm not quite finished putting all of them in there, and I forgot one. It's Awesome Highlighter, and it lets you, as in that Zoom It slide, you can highlight a web page, and I'm done. But it'll be on there for you to check out.
And you know that Meg's secret is she had a birthday Monday? Monday. I won't make you all sing, and I won't sing for you, so.
I'm exhausted. just watching all that you got done. All right, I'm Meg McGranahan from Butler Community College, and I'm going to be doing some Google tools and the wonder of it all. I don't know how many of you are using the Wonder Wheel, but that's the major thrust of this presentation. And then I had, you know, like 3 or 4 extra slides in 20 some odd extra seconds, so I did some extra ones. The first thing I want you to know is that students are very poor at doing searches. The average number of words used to do a search is like 1 point something. People just don't do a very good job of putting in words. So you can see that Google tries to help you out. I started to type in online learning, and it's suggesting games, center, software. Well, I just wanted to do online learning. It's only 2 words. And I came up with a mere 169 million hits. And I'm thinking, I don't have that kind of time. And neither do your students. And so we've got to help our students become better searchers. We can see that most of the top items are for profit. So Google does have an advanced search. How many of you can get your students to use the advanced search? Oh, good, you've got some. You must be training them well. The librarian I see over there, librarians are doing well. But students sometimes get to this advanced search page and they still don't know quite what to put in, what to leave out, what are the extra words. If you don't know, Google has come up with a cheat sheet to help students come up with how to fill in the advanced search or how to just do a better job doing their Google searches with ors or with quotes, with the pluses, with the tildes, with the asterisks. I did not know about the asterisk until I saw that. One of the most used items is the I'm feeling lucky link, and I forgot to highlight it there. But that only gives you 1 item. And most of the time when I hit the I'm feeling lucky, I'm getting some for-profit site. And I don't want a for-profit site. I'm looking for something that, you know, that I don't have to pay for or whatever the case may be. And so comes along the Wonder Wheel. And you can see it on the left-hand side of the screen. Sometimes you have to click on the option button if that's available to you. And the Wonder Wheel is going to take things and put them in a very graphic, kind of the graphic organizer fashion, and will help your students, first of all, recognize how to maybe be a better searcher in the future. So I type in online learning, and you can see that it comes up with a web of options. Online learning high school, games, online degrees, benefits of online learning. Well, I think I'd kind of like to find out a little bit more about online learning tips. And so I click off there to the left on the online learning tips. And 20 seconds is a little long. Okay, so I hit the online learning tips, and you can see down on the bottom is my first wheel, and it's spread off on to a bigger wheel. So now that's highlighted. And off to the right, you can see some of those items. Some of the top items are online learning tips. I can scroll down and see more of those as I go. Or I can say, that's not quite what I want. I want online teaching tips. You can now see that the wheel has grown a little bit more, and here are all sorts of items about online teaching tips. And it continues to narrow the scope so that maybe you're finding, and your students are finding, hopefully, exactly what they're looking for. So I actually am an instructor, and I want to know a little bit more, how about online instructor tips? And so it just continues to go down. You can follow the wheel down and go back to the original or any step along the way. If you say, you know what, I kind of like that last wheel better. I want to go back and see what was on that one. So you can go up and down your wheel, and I think it helps students start recognizing that 1 or 2 words is not enough, and maybe they'll start doing those better. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking, well, what about images? I want to have images kind of in the Wonder Wheel idea. When I type in online learning, I thought, I was amazed that there was 152 million pictures of online learning. Who knew, you know? And so I want a wheel. Well, this is still in the labs stage, but it's called the Google Image Swirl. And it's brand new, and it gave you some suggestions. I put in online learning, and they don't have an image swirl yet of online learning. But like I said, it's in the lab stage. So I decided that I would check some of these out. And I don't know a lot about art, but if there's one kind of art I really do appreciate, it is Impressionism. And so I clicked on Impressionism and saw that they had quite a variety, and you can see on each of these pictures that there are pictures behind the pictures. So I was looking at Monet and Renoir and Manet, and I decided, no, I think I'm gonna go with one of my favorites. I love Starry Night, and so I clicked on the Van Gogh, and you can see there are 14 options here. In the lower right, now there are 13 showing, and it grabbed the one on the furthest to the left, and there's the Starry Night in a bigger wheel, and now I can pick individual pictures in kind of the same realm of art. Once again, I'm not an artist, but you know, they're kind of in the same category. I chose Van Gogh himself. I don't know, is that before or after the ear incident? I'm not really sure, but you can only see one side, so he's doing okay for himself. But anyway, it's building a wheel, and you can narrow it down to the exact picture you want, and then click on that picture and find out a little bit more about it. So once again, it's narrowing the scope. We don't have to start with 159 million. Well, I wanted to show you a couple of other things in the Google Labs that I think is really neat. I just decided this is like a matrix. So first I typed in Overland Park restaurants, but they didn't have pictures. I thought that would be kind of fun to do. So instead I typed in Kansas colleges, and you can see an image, the name, the description of the university or college, telephone number, how many students. Another item in the lab, this was the coolest thing I've ever seen, was Public Data Explorer. This is countries' fertility rates. The really large blue one in the bottom left-hand side is China. If you follow it by clicking this arrow in the lower left, you can see when they used to have about 6 births per woman, and then it bounces, it just drops down when they went to the 1 child per family. And you watch everything change over the past 40 years of birth rate in the United States. If you're not using iGoogle, this is one of my favorite tools. I have a portal for the college, but I also always keep my iGoogle up. I like to know what's going on. This is not accurate as of today. I'm sure it's more than 93. That must have been a good day in Wichita last week when I did that. And then finally, Google came about in 1998. You know, the fact that they almost immediately became a verb tells us that they were totally embraced by the world. Once again, maybe China has some problems, but otherwise mostly embraced by the world. But there are so many things to explore that I encourage you to go to the more and find out what Google has to offer. Thank you very much.
And last but not least, Catherine Barker, who has been a member of the Casey Reach IT Committee for a while, and I've enjoyed listening to her presentations, and she always has some great information to share. So we're going to invite Catherine to come on up.
Okay, not that I'm nervous, but I actually have Catherine Barker on my sheet. So I am here, and I'm thrilled to be able to talk to you about Vuvox. It meets my #1 criteria for new software, which is it makes me look like a genius. And it's very easy to use, so you can look like a genius too. This is its site. I didn't know anything about it when I volunteered to do it, but this is the web page. And what it does is create interactive slideshows where you choose the media, or you can feed it from an RSS feed, and it will create a sliding display that you can add a lot of multimedia to. I didn't think their page was such a great example, so I pulled some examples. They have a place where you can go just to view what other people have made public, and so these are some examples that they have on their site. It doesn't cost you anything, but you do have to sign up if you want to be able to create these interactive slideshows. And I don't think there's anything you haven't seen here before. It's pretty much the standard. You create an account, and then if your slideshows are public, your slides will be searchable under your username. So they say that you have 3 ways to create. I say not necessarily. I think you basically have 2, and one is an enhanced one. But it's called Your Visual Voice, And you may have seen it on eBay because it was actually bought by eBay a little while ago. So cars, not quite as exciting as some of the things you can do with it. This is the Express version, and you can see it walks you through the steps to create it. You can use images that you pull from any of these sites. You can do a search. You can pull from the RSS feed. You can, if you have your images in Picasa, or you can upload your own images directly onto ViewBox and pull them there and assemble them on the line. So you start out, you first of all choose the source of your images, and in this example I chose Flickr, and I did a search, and then you choose your styles, and you can see just a few of the styles that are available there. So you choose your styles, you choose your format, and then you choose how you want to share it. And this is a postcard view. You have your sharing options down there at the bottom of the screen. And I bet if we just wait a minute, we'll get more information about sharing. There we go. There we go. So here's a preview of this slideshow. And if you were to click on any of these images, then it's going to expand it, and it's going to zoom forward and look really impressive. So this is a slideshow that I've created, and I can share it a multitude of ways. And I'm not sure you need 20 seconds to take all this in. But there you go. Anybody not recognize any one of those symbols? So, just in prep for the next slide, the other primary way that you can create these slideshows are through the collage, and it tells you right there, these are interactive panoramas, exclamation point. They are so beautiful. So, because we're looking at PowerPoint and I'm not going to the website, you can't really see how interactive they are. But here's your canvas where you begin to create, and you can see you have a media storage place. You can upload images, you can also upload videos, you can upload audio if you want to incorporate these into your slideshows. Or if you just want to put some things up there, you can either drag them up, or you can just tell ViewBox to display whatever you put up there, and it will arrange it on that timeline there. Okay, so we got some images, we got some MP3s here, and then there are tabs. If you have things in Picasa or SmugMug, or if there's another one there, Flickr, you can also pull from your image files on those sites. You just drag them up to the timeline, and once they're up there, then you're going to have a lot of ways that you can edit these images. So here I have an image from the college website. You can see it's up there on the timeline, and when I have it selected, I have a couple of tools that are going to let me edit that image. One is the little clipping tool that will make a background, or typically make some part of the slide transparent. And to do that, you can kind of layer it. If you look at this one, the young woman on the right, I made the background transparent, so then I could slide her image on top of the background of the group of students. You can add text to it. Then you can add hotspots to your slides. You can see this does have commercial application, so you've got a little $ if you want to, if you're got anything to market, you want to use it for personal use, you can do it there. Like I said, it's also part of eBay Motors. And then you go to Studio, and Studio is basically an enhanced version of the Express mode. So you can take slides, but it gives you more options for how you can present them. And I guess if I want you to go away with anything from this presentation today, it's definitely worth a try. It's a time sink, because once you start, you have so many options, and it is so much fun, and you look incredibly accomplished when you put these things online.
Well, I hope you all appreciate that all were called but few responded. These folks took the challenge to put in 20 slides, 20 seconds each, and I think they did a wonderful job. So thank you again for sharing. We have a few minutes for you to add your comments, ask questions, and if you have questions, I'll be more than happy to invite these folks down to answer. So we have 2 microphones if you have questions or comments on anything you've seen. It's amazing how thorough you can be in 6 minutes and 40 seconds, right? Any comments? Well, guess what? You get out of class early. Thank you for coming.